The question is often asked, how can we engage students in a discussion type environment, but maybe not use discussion board? This tool, Flipgrid, is a great alternative that allows students to record their voice, demonstrate something, or use a whiteboard in order to communicate and engage with you, the instructor, and their fellow classmates. So in this tutorial, we're going to spend a few minutes looking at Flipgrid, how it works, and how it can integrate back into Canvas. So here we are on the main page here, and you can see that this is entirely free for all educators, which is wonderful. Really anybody. But this is especially great for educators because there is a great power behind allowing students a voice in this way. So in order to get logged on, you can go ahead and choose to sign up or log in if you've been here before. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now, when you create your account, you're going to be taken to this screen where you can see some options up at the top. For this tutorial, I'm going to mostly focus on the My Grids area because that's, I think, where most educators spend a good deal of their time. So a couple of terminology pieces that might help here. When you come to your My Grids area, think of a grid almost like a folder or maybe even a class. Inside of a grid can be individual topics. Obviously, that would specifically address different topics you want the students to talk about. So you can create as many grids as you want and as many topics as you want. You can share an entire grid to somebody if you choose to, or you can share a topic to somebody. So I'm going to show you first how to create a grid. You're going to go ahead and click the Add New Grid button. Okay, so when we create a grid, first we're going to give it a name. I will call this Flipgrid Tutorial Example Grid. Okay. You have the option of how you want to set this up in terms of your grid type. The one I want to suggest that you use out of all of these is the school email. And this will allow you to have students log on to the grid by using a specific type of email. So I will show you what that means in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and choose that. This code is fine, and I'm going to go ahead and choose next. Okay, so it's saying because you're using your school email, what domains or what kinds of emails do you want to accept in this grid? So I might have an @nku.edu. Maybe I want them to use those. Or maybe in your class you use a lot of Gmail. Or you could accept both of those. So this gives you a little bit of, you can be very specific about what you want your students to use in terms of email addresses to log onto your grid. Okay, and they give you some quick notes here about this. So let's go ahead and click next. All right, so I'm going to click Go to My Grid. Here is my URL that I could post in any number of places to get students to this grid, but I'll go ahead and go to my grid. Okay, so once I have created my grid, you can see that it automatically creates a topic for me, and they always give the same one. It's Say Hello on Flipgrid. Just to give us the whole picture of how to use this, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this. There we go, all the way at the bottom. Okay. Now, we don't have any topics yet, but I want to first show you, if I go back to My Grids, it is listed here, the one I just created. And I want to show you that I can always edit this later. So let me show you these features first. Come over here to Edit, and we can get right inside of here. Okay, so notice, for whatever reason, when I had the @nku here, it did not take that. So let me try adding it now. There we go. Okay, so you can always change this later, or what type of grid you want, or the name of it, and so on. So let's see what else we've got down here. So a couple of good features down here. You can choose to hide a grid if you want it to be inactive for a period of time by choosing Hidden. You also, this will automatically caption topics and pieces inside of your grid, and you just have to tell it what language you would like it in. Okay, this is great for ADA compliance, by the way. All right, coming down, we can personalize this kind of backdrop, what you want it to look like. Here's some features down here, featured, and some other categories. I'm going to go ahead and leave that the way it is. And I'm going to choose to update my grid. All right, so now that I have my grid set up, I want you to see that you could share a grid by clicking the share button here, and that URL, again, you could put in any number of places you wanted to share this out to folks. Now I want to create a topic. Now again, a grid is kind of like a folder, but a topic is something that you actually want students to respond to in some way. So if I choose the add new topic, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this title and this prompt, and then I'll come back and tell you more of these features. Okay, I went ahead and gave this a title, and then I gave a little bit of a written prompt. In this topic, I'd like you to introduce yourselves to each other and share one thing you've learned about yourself during COVID-19. I have rubric in parentheses here. I always think it's helpful to add in here how points are going to be awarded for this particular assignment, assuming this is an assignment, and maybe it's not. But we'll talk more about Canvas a little bit later. But I wanted to just mention, I think it's good to be thorough in this area here. This is an area where you can allow the students a specific amount of time to answer this prompt. So you have all the way to 10 minutes, as short as 15 seconds. So maybe you're asking them for a one-word explanation for something you read, or a reflect on this article in 2 words, something like that. But of course, you would know best what is the right appropriate amount of time for the topic you have given your students. I'm going to leave this at a minute here. You can turn on video moderation, meaning that these will not become available for students to look at until you have okayed them. And down here is an area that's, I think, pretty important. It says optional, but I think this really adds a lot to it. There are items that you can add into this prompt that you might want a student to take a look at or watch or look at before they answer their prompt. So a really popular one is to record a video of yourself. So maybe if it's a prompt like this, you might record yourself answering the prompt, just kind of to model what you're looking for from them. You can also upload a video or add a video from YouTube, in this case, or Vimeo, and a whole host of other things that you can add to this topic to kind of boost the prompt a little bit with something visual or auditory that they're going to listen to. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to not do this, but I want you to know that those options are there. We're going to go ahead and create a topic. All right, so here's a link directly to my topic if I wanted to save this out. We'll choose all set. Okay, so it looks a little boring there without my topic focus, but of course I would recommend that you actually add that in there. So when a student comes to this topic, they will see things slightly differently. They will see kind of a big green plus button down here where they will click that plus button to add their responses to this topic. This can be done on any kind of computer, and they also have a mobile app for this. So students very often use this on their phones or an iPad or a Chromebook, something like that. So any device will really work to go ahead and add their response to the Flipgrid topic that you have. Okay, before I move on, I just want to show you, if you wanted to see what the student side looks like, you can actually click this code right here, View as Student. When I do that, it's going to ask me to log on. Why is it giving me these 2 prompts? Because I told it that I would only allow in at NKU, which is a Microsoft account, or at gmail.com, which is, of course, Google. So these are their 2 options to log on because that's how you designated this grid. Once you get in, it's going to look like this. Here is my topic. If I scroll down a little bit, there's this big green plus button that I mentioned. When they click on this, they can record their own response. And this actually gives them quite a few options on things that they can just record themselves speaking. They can actually open up a whiteboard. They can actually record their own screen if they wanted to demonstrate something on their computer. So they have a lot of options here on how they want to respond. Students can respond to each other. After there is a response in there, they can actually reply to each other as well. So let me see if I can find you an example of that. Okay, I went ahead in and created a response to show you that this is what they'll look like when they pop up. If you click on this, you can actually watch my response. This is how you can reply to me. So I could go ahead and reply to myself. I can also add some text or some stickers. Students really like the stickers part. This is the whiteboard area, and so on. So you can do quite a bit in recording.
Hi everybody, this is my
Okay, you get the idea. You can do quite a bit in recording your response as well as replying to others. And you can reply to students if you chose to. Okay, so this is the gist of Flipgrid. We went over grids and topics and what the students would see. Now let me add one more piece to this, which is there is a built-in Canvas component of this. And I want to show you this because you can do everything we just did and just use the URLs, these, to share to students within Canvas and keep everything inside of Flipgrid, where you're looking at everything in Flipgrid, you are replying to everybody in Flipgrid, and that all works just fine. I've done that many, many times. But if you want it to be integrated into Canvas and into your Grade Center, I want to show you how to do that. So let's head to Canvas and take a look at that. Okay, so here we are in Canvas, and I need to take a minute and explain the terminology LTI. LTI it stands for Learning Tools Interoperability. And what that means is that there are tools that connect into Canvas and into your Grade Center that allow you to more seamlessly bring outside tools in without kind of sending the student to different tools outside of the Canvas area. So I need to explain to you how to kind of turn on these LTIs for these different tools. So if we go under Settings in any Canvas course, and you come over here to Apps, you will see kind of an app store. These are all apps that could be added into your Canvas course to extend the functionality of some of the things you can do. So let's see if Flipgrid is one of them. Okay, and it is. So what I can do here is I can choose this Add App. Okay, now what it's asking for here is a consumer key and a shared secret. Sounds very secretive. But what this is really asking you for is a code in both of those boxes to connect you back to your Flipgrid account. So let's go to your Flipgrid account for a second. And here we are. We just left here. In the upper right-hand corner of your Flipgrid screen, you will see something that says Integrations. By clicking on Integrations, we can choose a new integration, meaning please connect this account by using there's that consumer key and that shared secret that it was asking for over here. So let's call this Tutorial Integration. Okay. Now we have a consumer key and we have a shared secret. So I'm going to just copy this, go back over, paste it, grab the shared secret and paste it and add the app. And let's see if it works. Okay, and it did. Flipgrid is now installed. So what can we do with this? Well, we can add an assignment that would integrate Flipgrid directly into the assignment. So let me show you how to do that. If we choose assignment, let's call this Tutorial Flipgrid Assignment. Okay, and then let's give it some directions and so on. When you come down here, when it's asking for submission type, what you want to choose is external tool. Let's go ahead and choose that now. Now we need to tell it what external tool we're going to be using. So we're going to click this find box and Flipgrid is in the list. So we choose select and we are going to come down and of course your dates and availability and all of that will be the same. We're going to go ahead and choose to save this. Now what's going to pop up is going to be this is now connected Flipgrid to Canvas. So it'll tell you, Flipgrid will automatically create a new topic for this Canvas assignment. Students can submit videos and they will automatically show in SpeedGrader, which is great. So it's asking us, do you want to create a course grid? Now understand, this is separate from all the things that we did on our grids prior to this. So the one that we played around with before is here. And this is going to create a new one specifically for this course. So let's go ahead and say yes. Okay, now within our bubble here, we have got a new topic that we are going to create for our students. And know that the grid is now called whatever the course name was that you're inside of in Canvas. How did it know? Because we connected it with that secret key that we did at the beginning. So you would walk through here and you would create an assignment for your students, just like we talked about creating a topic assignment. You would, of course, edit this. You would give them directions, maybe a topic focus, and so on, like we talked about before. So I'm going to show you one completed and show you what it does. Okay, so here's one that I created for my students using the exact same process I showed you before, except that it's now embedded into Canvas. It is worth noting that if you create a topic or a grid inside of Flipgrid, while you can link it back to Canvas, it will not be embedded into Canvas's grade center. So that's the difference between these two. You can create all your grids and you can use these URLs and you can give them to students, which works great. But if you want it embedded into SpeedGrader, you have to actually do the process we're talking about right now. So this is done that way. You can see I had a student come in and I had them go ahead and create a response. And what I want to show you is if I go to SpeedGrader, now that my students are all completed, let's say there's 10 or 12 of them here, I will go to SpeedGrader and I can see the student's video that they created, super flattering picture there, and I can grade them directly inside of SpeedGrader and move on just like you grade anything inside of Canvas. So that's the real power of using that Flipgrid LTI, is that it is fully embedded into Canvas, not just visually, but it is within the grades itself. So as I gave them a grade, you would see that grade right here, Flipgrid Intro. And I haven't graded it yet, so it looks like it needs to be graded. So either way you use Flipgrid would be just fine. You could certainly create within Flipgrid and just link it. But if you want to embed it and actually use the functionality of SpeedGrader for it, you will need that LTI piece that I explained to you. So that is it in a nutshell. Flipgrid will allow you to create grids and topics to engage your students in a video discussion that can be held directly in Flipgrid and just linked to this, or it can be housed and encompassed inside of Canvas if you choose to link it through that LTI. Good luck using this, and please let me know if I can help with any questions that you have.